Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tullahoma. We come here together freely to share our journeys and to learn from each other and to relish life, to open our mind to new ideas. Set aside your concerns, be in this time and this space. Chalice Lighting. Tony, would you do that? Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. And I've got a reading from our hymnal. We come together this morning to remind one another to rest for a moment on the forming edge of our lives, to resist the headlong tumble into the next moment, until we claim for ourselves awareness and gratitude, taking the time to look into one another's faces and see the communion there, the reflection of our own eyes. This house of laughter and silence, memory and hope, is hallowed by our presence together. And now it would be time for announcements. Do we have any announcements? Jim? You're muted.
Thank you. That gets all of us once in a while. We have our annual meeting coming up on May 1st, and the board, everybody needs your help with that. So we have two positions on the board that we'll need volunteers for. The first one is Vice President for Programs. That's a position Carrie has had, I believe, for 2 years, at least 2. So we really do need someone to step up, and that's a very important role. It's something we see every Sunday with our services. We will line taking care of the speaker. The second is a continuing trustee position, and that position is basically the institutional memory for the board, and that, as a result, is a 3-year position. So that previously was held by Peterson for quite a while, most of this 3-year term, then with Chuck Morgan for a while, and now Jancy Pederson has it. So please, if you're interested and willing to step up and volunteer and help the congregation, please let one of the board members know. We have a board meeting today, immediately after service. And one of the items on the board that we are discussing is remote membership. We started that discussion last month. There were questions about it. So we're going to continue that discussion today, and then I guess you have to make a decision whether we proceed with that or not today. There's still time to pledge. Karen's working on the final budget. She may say more about that, but there's still always time to go ahead and pledge. This year's been a little light, so if you can pledge, now would be a great time. And then also, last thing is the COVID numbers. The numbers are way down. Chuck Margaret is tracking this for us, which is really beneficial. I believe the number this past week was 3 cases, so that's as low as it's been in a long, long time, which is really great news. However, I'll reiterate what some of the epidemiologists and professionals are saying. It's not, don't let your guard down completely. This surge is over, but the other Omicron variant, this B2A, is still out there. We don't know what it's going to do. And data coming out of other countries is it's more contagious than the first one. So just still be aware it's out there. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Any other announcements?
Yeah, I have one.
Yes, Rick?
Yeah,
Yes?
thank you. We had our initial Thursday night refocus on a think tank piece, which has several pieces, called Rethinking Humanity. That's a pretty broad subject, and so we invite anyone who would wish to join us and take a look at it. First of all, you might want to go on the Rethink website and take a quick look at what the scope of the subject is, and then join us at 7 on Zoom. We may well be having popcorn at the church before long. We sure hope so. But y'all come. It's really interesting, and if it's and it has many aspects. Some of them are pretty scary, but they do offer some pretty good suggestions too. It's an open-minded group, and we need more participation. Y'all come.
Thanks. Any other announcements? Yes, Carrie.
Pardon me. Next Sunday, our speaker is Ashley, and I believe she is coming from Huntsville. She's an ordained minister. I can't remember her last name.
Do we have a topic?
Yeah, I'm sure we do, but I don't know what it is.
Okay. And for those of you on Zoom, the speaker asked me to let you know you might want to have a piece of paper and some sort of drawing material handy for an exercise that she is going to do during her presentation. So that would be beneficial. And while you're gathering that up, I have a reading. This is from John Behrens. He was the 6th president of the UUA and an ordained minister. It is called Blessed Are Those. Blessed are those who yearn for deepening more than escape, who are not afraid to grow in spirit. Blessed are those who take seriously the bonds of community, who regularly join in celebration and learning, who come as much to minister as to be ministered unto. Blessed are those who bring their children, who invite their friends to come along, to join in fellowship, service, learning, and growth. Blessed are those who support the church and its work by their regular, sustained, and generous giving, and who give of themselves no less than their money. Blessed are those who know that the church is often imperfect, yet rather than harbor feelings of anger or disappointment, bring their concerns and needs to the attention of the church leaders. Blessed are those who, when asked to serve, do it gladly, who realize that change is brought about through human meeting, who do the work of committees and stay till the end. Blessed are those who speak their minds in meetings, who can take and give criticism, who keep alive their sense of humor. Blessed are those who know that the work of the church is the transformation of society, who have a vision of beloved community transcending the present, and who do not shrink from controversy, sacrifice, or change. Blessed are they indeed. John Behrens. And now I introduce Michelle Peterson, who is our guest speaker today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I am Reverend Dr. Michelle Pederson. I'm affiliated community minister with Greater Nashville Unitarian Universalist.
It's distracting.
It doesn't cover up their view, just ours.
Okay. All right. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning. I was here many, many, many years ago. So many I can't even remember when, but a couple of faces seem a little familiar, so that's nice. I watched in awe as the VA hospital in Minneapolis, Minnesota was imploded. It was a surreal experience, like a magic trick. 1 minute, the building was there, and next, it was gone. This was 1994, well before the demolition of old buildings became the norm. The vast quantities of issues with the VA hospital had been a sore spot for both staff and patients. Ultimately, it was determined that the existing hospital would be replaced by a brand new one. This was a huge event, and like many others, we went to the area to watch as the building was destroyed. The spectator area was quite a distance from the hospital, yet we had a really good view. I'm not entirely sure what I expected, but what I saw, I was stunned by. As we watched, the building appeared to be sucked into itself. The power to make an entire building disappear all at once was breathtaking. The initial silence from the observers was followed by a gasp and then applause. And we all just stood there staring at the empty space where once there was a building. In what felt like a delayed reaction, we saw something floating up from the debris. At first, we thought it was a fire. That seemed to make sense, smoke. Then it slowly dawned on us. It wasn't smoke. It was an enormous cloud of dust, and it was headed straight at us. Everyone quickly left the area, and as we rode away on our bikes, we couldn't help but look over our shoulders to see if we were going to get away, just like in the movies. We got away. This experience has stuck with me all of these years. Periodically, I think that I'd enjoy that job, blowing things up. Not buildings, though. I really cherish old, drafty, falling down buildings. They have charm, history, and maybe even ghosts. The world we live in seems to have a conflicted relationship with destruction. On the one hand, so many goods are made to be disposable. Just throw it out and get new. At the same time, when it comes to systems, we seem to hold on with all of our might, keeping things the way they are. Of course, there are many exceptions, people who conserve and preserve, and those who seek to dismantle unjust and inequitable systems. What I mean is that it seems to be much easier to toss things out, while the work of dismantling systems, particularly systems of oppression, take enormous amounts of effort and resources. And there are many people who are invested in maintaining the status quo rather than dismantling it. My dream of becoming a demolitions expert is likely more prominent when I'm feeling powerless. It feels liberating to me to imagine just demolishing the thing and replacing it. Destruction and preservation, however, aren't either or events. Instead, they are both and events. There are things we need to preserve, certainly, and there are things that must be destroyed. For me, one example is the criminal legal system. We continue to uncover issues with the system and then seek ways to remedy the injustices and inequitability in every stage of the system. One piece of that system is sentencing. Tennesseans for Alternatives to the Death Penalty focuses on eliminating the death penalty as a sentencing option. Much of their work is to illustrate the problems inherent in the costly and inequitable sentencing system. Ending the death penalty is important and valuable, which is why I engage in this work. However, this is only one small piece of a very large and very broken system. One I believe is beyond repair and needs to be demolished. Abolishing the old and replacing with an entirely new, just, equitable, compassionate, and supportive system. Destruction sounds like a judgment, a negative term, while construction is often seen as a good thing. I'd like to challenge that notion. Destruction is a natural part of the life cycle. Consider this. We are all pre-programmed for destruction. While death is the end of our life as a human, it is also the beginning for something else. The human body is composed of 60% water, which, upon death, is returned to the water cycle. Water, a most precious and necessary element to life. The earth came into being out of destruction, an explosion causing many fragments to float apart, one of which we now inhabit. Another fragment we observe daily in its destruction phase. The natural destruction, the fire of the sun, is essential to our lives. We tend to think of construction as only construction as life-giving. Yet destruction is also life-giving. Consider trees. I recently learned that long ago, trees did not decompose. Each tree that would die would just fall on top of the next, and so on and so on. And over time, the trees would form peat bogs. And as the trees continued to fall, the compression of the massive numbers of fallen trees eventually created coal. That destruction process of falling trees formed something new. Later, another life form came into existence, which ushered in the process of decomposition. Now, rather than continuing to build up in piles of trees, they now decompose, so the nutrients from the trees may be absorbed into the earth. In turn, the decomposing tree provides nourishment for other life. The universe is such a fascinating illustration of the deep interrelation between creation and destruction, which obscures our identification of one from the other, of the impermanence of everything, always in process. Change may take millennium to observe, but it is changing. Of the cyclical process of the natural world, moving from life to death over and over. Of the limitations of our perspective, of what we as human beings can know and observe. Have you ever been baffled by what you said to someone or something that you did? I have. There have been times where my own behavior has been puzzling to me. Why on earth did I do that? To me, this is a reminder to stay in the present moment, letting go of attachment to the past and to the future. My responsibility is to the present, as I cannot change the past and I cannot predict what will happen in the future. Nor do I know what the ultimate outcome of any event will be. I'm responsible for taking right action in the moment and then to let the outcomes happen as they will. Many times it is quite difficult to tell whether something is being created or destroyed, as they both naturally occur together. Our planet was created at the time of destruction of something else. Are we currently in the process of destruction of Earth? Seems likely. And likely that destruction is also constructive and creative. Something new will form out of this process. There are right actions for each of us to take in every moment, actions which support ourselves, others, and the planet. Yet we do not have control over whether the Earth is preparing for destruction. Similarly, we do not have control over our own destruction. It will happen for each of us, no matter what. Nothing is permanent. What a relief. Everything passes along. In the book Dancing with Life, Buddhist Insights for Finding Meaning and Joy in the Face of Suffering, Philip Moffat repeatedly reminds the reader that everything that arises disappears. I'm reminded of the many flower beds around our house, which was one of the attractions when we found the house. And we have no idea what flowers are in any of the gardens. Weekly something new bloomed while something else died, and the ivy was busy trying to choke everything out. The gardens were severely overgrown. The previous owner had spent many hours every day tending the beds, and when she became ill, she was unable to tend to them anymore for about 3 years. So when we moved in, I felt completely overwhelmed. I didn't have the time she did, nor did I know anything about flower gardening. I finally obtained a consultation from a professional who came up with great plans for each of the gardens. Then he stood before the largest, most overgrown, and noted, "This is a mess." His recommendation was destruction, advising us to simply mow it over and start fresh. As he said that, I felt my body relax. I realized that I had needed permission to destroy the existing and to make space for my own desires. Perhaps you need permission to let go of something, to destroy that which is no longer serving you. I'd like to invite us to take a time of contemplative reflection together. We'll have a guided imagery journey. I gave you each a piece of paper and a couple of colors to color with. If you didn't get one, there's a bin right there. As we get settled in, take a moment to become centered. You may want to take a few slow, deep breaths. Perhaps close your eyes. Relax. Now bring fully into your awareness something in your life that you would like to let go, that you would like to destroy. It could be a material object, a piece of unflattering clothing, the ugly tile in the bathroom, a garden. It could be a concept, idea, or belief, like the belief that you must be perfect or do everything perfectly. We'll share a little bit of time together now, reflecting silently on what it is in your life that would benefit from destruction. Feel free to use your paper and marker to write, draw, origami, or just sit in quiet reflection. Reflecting on what it is in your life that would benefit from destruction. What you write on your paper is entirely for your own eyes, so feel free in whatever you write. Is there someone or something you need permission from as you prepare to let that object, behavior, or belief go? That permission may be symbolic or actual. You may actually need permission to destroy something. For the purposes of our time this morning, let's assume permission has already been granted. You've now identified the thing that you would like to let go. You've received permission. It is now time to let it go, to destroy that thing. We'll take a short guided meditation together. If you will, close your eyes. Imagine yourself somewhere you feel safe, peaceful, and at ease. Imagine that there is a beautiful fire waiting for you to enjoy in that space. What kind of fire is in your space? What awaits you? A crackling fire warming you as you sit beside a great fireplace. An enormous bonfire in the middle of a field, flames reaching towards the heavens. A small campfire at your favorite campground. Candles covering a table. As you observe your fire, notice what the flames look like. How their dance affects what you see, the shadows, the light. Notice the sound emanating from the fire as the flames move. Notice the smells of your fire. Damp wood meeting hot flame, dried leaves, pine, candle fragrance. Notice how the heat of the flames feel upon your skin. Enjoy being in this place with your fire. In your mind's eye, hold that thing that you want to destroy, that you would like to let go. Prepare yourself to let it go. When you feel ready, place that thing into the fire. Watch as the fire consumes it. And know that your gift feeds this fire. Notice how it and the fire change. No longer the thing you put into the fire. It has become the fire. Soon it will be ash, which then may nourish the soil and continue its process, becoming something new. As you feel ready, thank the fire and prepare to return to this room. Douse the fire and make sure that it's completely out as you begin to return to this place. As you come fully back into the present moment, into this room, and open your eyes. take a moment to reflect on how you feel about this destruction, about the impermanence of all, of the cyclical nature of the process. Was there a moment for you where destruction and construction became one, were merged? Although destruction and construction are always co-occurring, making way for destruction in our own lives isn't simple, straightforward, or easy. Each of us comes to a space of letting go in our own time. Sometimes it is quick, like my gardens. Other times it's much slower and longer process of letting go of self-defeating beliefs. Practices such as the one we just shared can be helpful in easing into a space of welcoming the destruction that is everywhere present. Thank you for sharing your time with me this morning. Amen.
Thank you, Michelle.
Welcome.
That was wonderful. I guess really we're just left now with our closing hymn, which we don't sing yet, but we probably will soon. I will read the words. I wish we could sing it. As we leave this friendly place, love give light to every face. May the kindness which we learn light our hearts till we return. Thank you. We'll take a little break, and then we'll sort of do a little U-shaped thing and have a little talk back. Michelle, you remember that from the last time?
I do.
All right.
Thank
We
you.
will discuss the service, and so come back at 11 o'clock, and we'll start off with that. Thank you.
I said to Tullahoma, I make Adam move